This could finally be the year of the mosque for the Islamic Society of New Hampshire. More than a quarter of a century after their dream of a house of worship of their own began, there's a sense now that the dream will become a reality in 2025. It began in 1998 with a land purchase, followed by 8 years mired in legal battles with the city, and also with then Karatzis Avenue abutters. But the Islamic Society finally broke ground on the mosque in 2007. Since then, progress has been painfully slow. As it stands right now, the circular brick building remains unfinished, but those who continue to shepherd the project along the way say that the goal is in sight, which is to have the ground floor completed and in use this year.
The folks who started this project, it was before my time, and the community here, as you know, when they initially started, it was just 5-6 people at somebody's apartment. That's where they started praying, and then as the community grew, they rented a space for the prayer in a basement across from Gilt Stadium, and then over time they moved to South Willow. But in the background, they've been trying to build this. They bought the land, and after buying the land, it went through some, court cases in terms of people opposing the building of the project. But eventually, we prevailed, and we were granted the permit to build it. And since then, the way it's being built is that the community, the small community, they get together once a year and do fundraising, and whatever money they raise, they do however much work that they can with that money, and then they wait till the next year's fundraiser. But now we've gotten to a point where doing little by little, some of the stuff that's left to be done little by little is not feasible because a lot of things will fall out of warranty, equipment and stuff. So now we're at a point where we have to do some big chunk of work that requires big chunk of money. Right now we're in the middle of doing the HVAC work that's close over a $500,000 project in the basement. So with all these challenges and everything that we experience over time, both financial and opposition from some of the folks who do not want to see it being built, we spent close to $1 million just doing all the site work, the electrical and everything, the parking lot that you've seen over there, the water line, the water main extension. We had to extend it all the way from the apartments through this main road to here, and part of that was that we had to pave this whole road out of our own pocket, right? So all of that was done for close to $1 million, and right now we're doing about $500,000 worth of, little over $500,000 worth of HVAC work in the inside. And once that is done, we're probably looking at another $1 million to finish the first floor to move in. And then once that is done, the second and third floor, it's hard to tell because the price of everything is changing, because the HVAC has to be done for the second floor and third floor, and then all the finishing stuff. So I would not be able to give you an estimate of what it'll take to finish the second and third, but I can tell you we still have $1 million to go for the first floor. Inshallah, we'll get this resolved and get the work going, because after the HVAC, the rest of the work is not very time consuming. This insulation, the wall, drywalls and stuff, we have many community tradesmen that can help us do that. It's just that some of these technical jobs like the HVAC and plumbing, we already have a plumbing contract, so we're going to get going as soon as HVAC finishes. We have to do this sprinkler system, fire alarm system. So there's a lot of things that need to be done, but also they need to be done in certain sequence, because certain jobs cannot be done before the other jobs, right? Otherwise they'll interfere with each other. So those are some of the challenges we're dealing with, but inshallah we're going to get this finished here soon so that we can move in and then start praying in the first floor while we work on the second and third floor. One of the reasons it's taking so long is the Manchester in southern New Hampshire Muslim community that are building this. It's a small community. From the time I've been involved, I have not seen a lot of outside support pouring in to finish this. I've seen mostly it's the community people, whatever they can do, they're donating and then they're carrying it forward. I have not seen any outside Muslim community that are much more affluent. I'd even reached out to some communities in California that have a lot of reserves in their bank, not knowing what to do with it. But I don't know what the difficulty is getting support from them, but I can tell you that we don't get very much support from outside. We signed the contract and it was going to be done in a year, but COVID hit and everything went out the window, and the site contractor filed for bankruptcy, so they had to get a separate subcontractor. All these kinds of things just keep adding to our delay here, but the other part of it is too also is obviously we could hand it over to a general contractor and say just get it done if we had unlimited amount of money, right? Of course, if you give somebody $7-8 million, they'll come and finish it within 6-7 months, but we just don't have that money. So we try to do, be very, careful with our money to get the most out of what we raise every year to get it done. But inshallah, once we get through the HVAC hurdle in the first floor that I showed you, the rest of the stuff should go by fairly quickly, because that stuff we have much control over. We're not at the mercy of a contractor. Eventually, we got to a point where we decided instead of finishing all 3 floors, we're going to finish the first floor that we saw that the HVAC work is being done. We're going to finish that first and move in, use that as a prayer area, and then once we move in, people would be more inclined to donate to finish the upper 2 floors. So that's the plan right now. Where we are right now, we're in the middle of doing the HVAC project. The HVAC project was supposed to be done by April. If we're able to finish this quickly and move in, that's $10,000 a month that we have to spend less. But now some of it we have to spend here. We have to heat the place, right? We have to keep the lights on and so forth. So it wouldn't be that $10,000 is going to go down to zero, but maybe can come down to $3,000, $4,000 a month. Instead of having to pay rent to somebody, we can, be in our own facility.
Islamic Society board member Irhad Rapidzija talks about general picture of the Muslim community in New Hampshire.
Muslim community in New Hampshire is fairly new. So, 20, 30 years ago, there was only a handful of, Muslims here, and they started, with some small space. So we have changed several spaces until we got to this one. We have people here from many different countries, many different nationalities, many different ethnicities, and also, many different backgrounds. So this here is our masjid, our community center. This is where we gather. This is the only place in the city for the Muslims of Manchester. From 5 daily prayers and Jummah. On Wednesdays, we have Quran class for adults. Then on Saturdays, we have something that we like to call family night, where basically our members come in with their families, brothers, sisters, children, and everybody's here. Then we have a lecture. It's mostly tailored for the adults. But after the lecture, there's a dinner for the community here, and that's going on pretty much every Sunday. Then, apart from that, we also have a youth committee, which is basically for brothers and sisters of high school age and college age. So they organize some programs which are tailored towards their age group, and they basically organize different programs. Sometimes it's some lectures with dinners, sometimes it's going for a hike, for picnics and stuff like that. Then on Sundays, we have a Sunday school for children, and in that school, basically, children are, as I mentioned before, taught Quran and other general Islamic knowledge.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha
number of Muslims are happy with the construction of the new mosque.
We request from business people, non-profit organizations, community members who can support with the construction of the new masjid, to be completed, inshallah, to come forward. We thank all of the people who have already donated, but we are still short. But we encourage more people to come forward, inshallah, and support and help out, because the masjid is not one person masjid. It's Allah's house, and it's a gathering. It's a place for gathering for all kind of people, because the masjid doesn't discriminate whether you are white or black or Caucasian or wherever you are from. The masjid is a gathering for all the people who believe in one God and believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's a good place to be. It's a safe place to be, and so it's very important that we Muslims from all backgrounds come together and complete this project, inshallah, for the future generations, inshallah.
Our community is building a new masjid, mashallah, in Manchester. And because this masjid we have currently is a little bit overcrowded, especially during Jumu'ah, Salat Jumu'ah, mashallah, we are building a new masjid, and it is big enough to host most of the community here in southern New Hampshire. And I think we are about 85% done, so which is, alhamdulillah, which is really good.
Help us build the house of Allah. This is where we gather to worship Allah, so we may earn rewards and earn Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah.
La ilaha illallah.
After many years of slow progress and patience, members of the Islamic Society say they are hopeful that this mosque, which will be one of the largest mosques in the area, will finally be complete and open later this year.